Months before Gears of War 2 rips its way onto store shelves, first-person shooter fans are getting a hefty dose of Unreal Engine 3 fueled action in the form of Unreal Tournament 3, the latest addition to the multiplayer-centric series, first released on PC in late 2007, and 1 month later on PS3. Now Xbox 360 owners are getting their first taste of UT3 with its most refined and fully featured rendition yet. The Unreal Tournament franchise has been known as a Twitch shooter since its inception. Unlike the Rainbow Six Vegases of the world, to be successful in UT3, players will need to keep their head in a constant swivel and their sensitivity ratcheted up. Of course, it's that same Fast and Furious gameplay that has handcuffed shooters of this nature in the past on consoles. Thankfully, the folks at Epic Games have done a great job in tweaking the core controls. Aiming is a breeze thanks to a slight aim assist, but it's nothing that takes the game out of your hands at any time. The few times I found myself frustrated were when trying to switch weapons and when piloting a vehicle in close quarters. Driving vehicles in Unreal Tournament 3 is very similar to maneuvering the Warthog in Halo. Point your targeting reticule in a direction and press forward on the left stick, and your ride will try to make its way in that direction. It gets a little clunky when in tight quarters, and the fact that you can't aim and drive independently from one another in the Goliath tank is slightly disconcerting. Changing weapons also brings a few headaches. The right bumper skips forward in your weapons list, one armament at a time, while the left bumper brings up a radial menu for you to cycle through. Once you learn the location of each weapon on the radial menu, the left bumper will be the way to go for most, but both methods take a half second longer than they should in this type of game. Luckily, the rest of the gameplay in UT3 performs very well. When you pick up the controller for the first time, it feels like past games in the series. It's fast and the strategy element seems relatively limited. Delving deeper into the intricacies of the gameplay reveals much more, however. There are strategic mechanics built into vehicles, and the enemy always has the adequate weaponry to counter what you throw at them, providing they're well versed in their abilities. As with most first-person shooters of this nature, Unreal Tournament 3 hands players both a campaign mode and a fully realized multiplayer portion. The campaign actually delivers a bit more than the usual themed bot match. There are small additions to the maps that act as side objectives to differentiate the action from the multiplayer matches, and the bot's intelligence is at a high enough level so that the mode can at least feign the feeling of playing online. Despite that, it's playing on Xbox Live where you'll find the real fun, providing that you can hook up with a group of people who know what they're doing and work together. Of course, if you aren't lucky enough to find solid teammates, there are modes like Team Deathmatch and Deathmatch, which are more about plain old killing when compared to the more strategic modes like Warfare, which happens to be my personal favorite. The main detractor from the Xbox 360's version of UT3 is the lack of customization options. Both PS3 and PC users were able to create original content, both mutators and maps, and load them into their version of Unreal Tournament 3. The same cannot be said here. Instead, you just get 5 new maps and 3 maps from the downloadable content released thus far on PC and PS3. Even still, the fact that the past versions of UT3 have had what is essentially an unlimited list of maps at their disposal is a bit of a disappointment. The only truly impressive addition to the Xbox 360 version is the split-screen mode, which allows for another player to hop on and play locally on your system. It allows for both guests and separate gamer tags to be signed on for online play, and surprisingly enough, the frame rate actually does hold very steady, only dropping during a few instances of intense action. Speaking of visuals, Unreal Tournament 3 is a showcase of what an FPS has the potential to look like on the 360. Every gun model is awesomely detailed, as are the character models that blow each other to pieces at every turn. The only negatives I can say about the graphics are that there are still instances of texture pop-in, mainly at the beginning of a game, and there are frame rate dips every so often, even in single-player mode. Orally, Unreal Tournament 3 doesn't do a whole lot different from its previous brethren. The effects still ring true with cool explosions and gun sounds, but the dialogue is more than a little cheesy.
Your big plan was to save me, then blow me to bits?
UT3 on Xbox 360 is a great first-person shooter that many will be able to enjoy during the warm summer months. If you're looking for an engrossing single-player game, you'll want to search elsewhere, but if all you want is a quality multiplayer experience with a serviceable campaign mode and plenty of content under the hood, look no further than Unreal Tournament 3.